abuse and defamation ex-president in his own words.
I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. I said, why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said.
Because he's a rapist.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. Pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
So much.
You know, I feel that I would not have gone on the Joe Rogan show either if I had been Kamala Harris. I have watched many Joe Rogan shows. I've enjoyed a lot of them. And he speaks mostly for, aliens and antiquities and wrestling, boxing, all kinds of things that I don't think, a lot of women in general have a big interest in. And I don't know if Kamala Harris is interested in that. And she probably wouldn't have had all of the space fillers for time that Donald Trump had. I mean, he was talking to Rogan about aliens. He was talking about boxing. He was talking about fighting. He was talking about all kinds of things that Rogan normally puts on his show that I don't think Kamala would have had much to say about. And then he went into that long description, which was full of misrepresentations about Lincoln and the Lincoln bedroom and the depression of Lincoln and his wife. But I don't think that would have been proper or something that Kamala would have had time to talk about. And that's why Trump was able to fill out to 3 hours. But he didn't talk about his politics, his real things for 3 hours. I was upset that Rogan didn't ask him, why did Trump take off his shoes the day he was in Butler, Pennsylvania, and that bullet went through the crowd? Why did he drop and take off his shoes? He was unable to find his shoes, and it held up them being able to get him off the podium. But that was a weird thing to do. I would never drop and take off my shoes. So that's why that was additional suspicion that he had probably nicked his ear with something in his shoe that would make him look like he had been injured by the flying bullet. Whether he was injured by a piece of debris or whether he was injured by something he did to his ear while he was under the podium, or whether he was actually grazed by, I don't think he was grazed by a bullet because that would have been way too close to his head. And we never ever saw any pictures from the emergency room or the CT scan results that he had done while he was in Butler, Pennsylvania. So all of it's very suspicious. I think that Kamala Harris did the right thing by not going on the Joe Rogan show. I don't think I've ever seen Joe Rogan have an interview with a highly educated black female. I've seen black men, mostly comedians. Mostly comedians I see on the Joe Rogan show. I'm always impressed when Joe Rogan talks with Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson is very smart, but he's in the drug business. He's selling marijuana, and then he's doing, he always comes on and talks about his fights. He talks about criminal activity in New York and so forth. So as a Attorney General for the state of California, it would have been improper for Kamala Harris to go into crime families that she dealt with in the state of California, because she is representing, at that point, she is representing the past cases where she was a prosecutor, and she shouldn't really come out and say anything about those cases. And as vice president, she can't or probably doesn't want to buck Joe Biden, who is still president. And Joe Biden had a very nice Halloween event, which I didn't see covered. Of course, I don't watch much television, so I didn't see it covered, but he did have a very nice Halloween event, and they showed him actually faking a bite of a baby's leg, and that was kind of weird but funny because it's Biden. I guess that's like because it's Donald Trump, he says these things. You need a president who says what he means. You don't need to have a president who says all kinds of crazy things, and then he needs a bunch of people to follow up to say, well, what he really meant was, or what he was trying to say was, that's totally improper. So the fact that Trump can't speak properly, the fact that he does say things that are very horrific and not right for a person in public office, a person who wants to get rid of our Constitution, and who knows what he wants to do with it, a person who wants to get rid of Obamacare, which is doing so well, saving people so much money. I want to tell people that a pre-existing condition today for an insurance company to deny you health insurance or require you to pay an exorbitant increase in insurance, a pre-existing condition today would include, have you ever had COVID? Have you ever gone in for IV in vitro fertilization, or had any of the medications, or had any procedure done for in vitro fertilization because you were trying to become pregnant? And it would include a whole lot more things that people don't think about as pre-existing conditions. So those would also be included on the list of pre-existing conditions that you would have to deal with if Trump went in and got rid of Obamacare. If you had plastic surgery on your breast, on your face, well, those areas would be excluded. So you have something done to your breast, you end up with breast cancer, well, maybe you're excluded because that was a pre-existing condition, something that you had manipulated artificially for whatever reason, and so that they would not cover that by insurance. So you have to be very careful with Obamacare. It took years and years to get that to the state it is in now, and Trump doesn't even have a plan. And they've been trying, the Republicans have been trying to find an alternative to Obamacare for over 15 years, and they haven't been able to. They still don't even have, Trump says he has a concept, but Trump doesn't know anything about health care. Now, Trump wants to turn the health care question over to RFK Jr. RFK says he's going to get all kinds of freedom to do whatever he wants with American health care. Oh, God bless us all. And then he's also asking doctors, because he has his doctor friend who's in the Senate, and he got him that Senate job. So now he wants to put him and others in charge of creating the alternative to Obamacare. Now that is going to benefit doctors. Doctors want higher prices. They want to see fewer people. They don't want to see poor people. And so what you're going to see is a really holistic version of healthcare if Donald Trump gets his fingers on rewriting the healthcare plan for the United States. You won't get anything like Obamacare. You won't get rid of pre-existing conditions. For people who don't know, pre-existing conditions for women used to include a pregnancy. If you got pregnant at all, if you had a pregnant and you had a very early abortion, if you had pregnant and you went through with the whole pregnancy and delivered a healthy baby, those were all considered pre-existing conditions that an insurance company could either say they won't give you health insurance, or they're going to charge you an exorbitant extra cost in order to cover you. What I forgot about the Joe Rogan show. One thing I wanted to say is I thought it was funny when Joe Rogan was surprised. He said, "Do you know that a certain number of people, youth, don't even qualify for the service today because they're so unhealthy?" And of course, Trump was kind of quiet, and would have been a good time for Rogan to ask, "What about that spur on your foot that you got some doctor to write a note saying that you couldn't go be drafted into the military because you had a bone spur?" Trump wouldn't even go into the military. He sent some other guy in his place to face and fight for our country. Trump never fought for our country. And when he tries to use his ear as a symbol of him fighting for our country, no, he was a victim. He was hit by something, but he never fought for our country. He never fought for the United States, only for himself. So, just wanted to say that. What do you think? Like and subscribe. Bye.